Welcome to San Joaquin Spotlight, a public affairs program featuring conversations about life in the central San Joaquin Valley. This program is brought to you in partnership between KFSR 90.7 FM and CMAC Fresno. I'm your host, Sevag Tateosian. Today we have Jarrod Lyman. He's going to be talking about visiting this area. Jarrod, what organization do you work with?
I'm the Director of PR and Communications for the Yosemite Sierra Visitors Bureau. We're a destination marketing organization, which is a really fancy way of saying we promote an area. The area we promote is all of Madera County and the southern gateway region to Yosemite, the Highway 41 corridor. And as I said, we're responsible for all of Madera County, as well as that southern gateway region to Yosemite. And what a lot of people don't realize is there's a lot of stuff to see and do throughout that area. Even people from here don't realize how much there's to see and do in their backyard. So I really appreciate the chance to come here and share that with all your viewers and listeners and tell them everything we have going on.
You're very welcome. And one of the things we always hear in this area is there's nothing to do here. There's nothing to do here. So you actually oversee different things.
I'll tell you what, that statement that there's nothing to do here couldn't be more wrong. And I can tell you both from that promotional standpoint and from the fact that I try to schedule things and can never find an open time, there's always something going on. And there's just so much to see and do in this area. And what we do is we promote what we call the Fossils to Falls Trail. That makes, so many people go to Yosemite, and we'll get so many people who stop at the visitor center on the way up to the park or on the way back. And especially on the way back, they'll say, God, I wish I had more time because I didn't know there was all this other stuff to see and do. So we promote this journey to show the people it's not just the destination, it's the journey. It's the entire trip. Don't just drive from wherever you're going from, hit the park, and then go home. There's so much to see and do on the way up there that you can make the whole destination, the whole trip, I should say, fun and exciting.
So the other day there was a visitor in Fresno from Washington, D.C., and I had the opportunity to actually drive her to the airport. And one of the things she said is, I didn't realize you're close to Yosemite. And I told her, why don't you go up there? You'll be done by an hour and come back. Did I give her correct advice?
That you kind of undershot that one a little bit. She probably got about halfway there and go, oh, I'm in trouble. From Fresno to the Southern Gate, you're looking at about, an hour and a half, give or take a little bit, probably more time too, before you hit the Southern Gate of Yosemite. And then what a lot of people don't realize, even people who live here, Yosemite is the size of Rhode Island.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So we're talking a huge area.
Yeah, it's the size of a state. A small state, but it's still the size of a state. It's still bigger than some European countries. So there's a lot of stuff to see and do inside the park as well. People kind of expect, they pull up at the gate and expect to see everything right there, and that's just not the case. You could spend a week exploring all of Madera County and then another week inside Yosemite. There's so much more to the park than just Yosemite Valley, what a lot of people associate with Yosemite. But really, that's only 5% of the park. There's so much more outside of that, and that's another thing that we do, and we work with the National Park Service to do that, is to showcase, so many people go to the valley, but step outside the valley, see some of the other things, and we can kind of get those crowds out the area and see everything else that Yosemite has to offer.
You mentioned South Gate, and where exactly is the South Gate, and then is there like a North Gate as well?
Yeah, the South Gate is north of Oakhurst, just north of the town of Fish Camp.
Okay.
It's located right there, just about 2 miles out from the Mariposa Grove of Giant Sequoia. When you hit that gate, if you make an immediate right, you go up to the Mariposa Grove of Giant Sequoia, hang a left, that takes you into the rest of the park. That's the South Gate. There's actually 4 gateways. You've got the 140 entrance that's outside of Mariposa. You've got the 120 entrance, that's also known as the east entrance, and then the Tioga Road entrance over on the east side. That's a seasonal one, though. That's the one that they have to clear the road every year, that Tioga Road, before people can get in and out.
In the winter, should we worry about snow? Is there an issue getting inside the park?
You always want to check for road conditions in the winter, and you always actually want to have chains in your vehicle as well. That's something that they will check on. They will ask you if you have chains when you get to the Southern Gate, or any gate, I should say. You are required to have them in your vehicle at any time, because at any point in time, chain control could go into effect. There's numbers you can call for road conditions. You can also call us at the Visitors Bureau. We will give you the latest road conditions and help you out on anything like that. But it's always important to check on that, especially anywhere in the mountains, because that's one of those things is the weather can just change like that.
How about traffic? One of the things that during busy season you'll get is traffic anywhere you go. But in the off season, like right now, let's say I was to drive up to Yosemite right now, would I hit traffic?
You know, on the winter or on the weekends, I should say, you're going to start getting to see more people up there. Where schools are getting out now, we're really starting to hit the peak of that summer season. So you're going to find more traffic. We advise people who are going to Yosemite during the summer to try to go on the weekdays if they can, or go you know, earlier in the morning to beat that rush of everybody going through. You know, one of the other options is to take a tour company. We have actually a few tour companies in Madera County that offer some great opportunities. And one of the best things about that is, one, the poor person stuck driving the car up to Yosemite, he actually gets to enjoy the tour as well. He's not busy watching the road. He gets to see, or he or she gets to see everything there is. But also, you're going to learn more about the park. You know, being up there, I've learned so much more about the park. But every time I take one of these tours, I always come away with a couple or three new facts about the park that are just amazing. I mean, there's so much to learn there, so much history, so many points of interest that those tours really, you come away with something special.
I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you something people don't know about the park.
Something people don't know about the park. Wow, you know, there's so much about the park. There's actually one of the spots in Yosemite, a lot of people drive right by it, they miss it. It's known as the smallest waterfall in Yosemite. You know, everybody knows Bridal Veil and Yosemite Falls and, you know, Vernal Falls. But there's one called Fern Springs. And it's after, just as you round the corner, heading back towards Highway 41 after Valley View, you'll see a little pull-off to your right. And it's just this little natural spring that flows you around. It's just got this little fall about yay big, and I mean it's actually a very pretty spot. And if you're into photography, it's a great spot to try to, you know, capture that, you know, slow shutter speed image where the water kind of softens everything. It's a beautiful area and one of those kind of hidden secrets about the park that a lot of people don't know about. They just drive right on by it.
Is there a map or something I can look at? I mean, you're mentioning a lot of things, and I've been to Yosemite several times, and I'm sure I've missed things in driving back or driving there. Is there a map or something next time I go I can follow?
I advise everybody to stop at our visitor center in Oakhurst. We're right there in the middle of town, across from what used to be the Old Kettle Restaurant. It's now a Denny's about to open, so you can't miss us. Their signage is very subtle. But just head across the road there, 40637 Highway 41. We have some of the most amazing volunteers who run that information desk. They are just a wealth of knowledge that will help everybody, give you all kinds of points of interest, give you a map, kind of highlight those spots you're looking for. We'll load you up with so much information you'll think that your head will spin. You'll just spend a week there.
You mentioned Denny's as far as food. So if I go up there and I'm hungry, is there good restaurants out there? I mean, what can I expect to eat when I go in or around the park?
You know, one of the best things about, you know, even Madera County is we have some really amazing restaurants. It's a whole wide range. You know, if you go in Madera, we've got the Vineyard Restaurant, which the Mariscotti family are, I mean, these are just, it's a legendary restaurant family. In fact, a couple years ago, their family was given the Lifetime Achievement Award from the California Restaurant Association. They were doing the whole field to plate thing decades ago, before it was even popular. You know, to them, that's old hat. Well, everybody's just discovering this thing. If you go up to Oakhurst, there's Erna's Elderberry House. It's actually Central California's only 5-star restaurant.
That's amazing.
And the food, I mean, wow. I mean, I'm in PR and I lack the words to describe how amazing that place is. The decor is beautiful. It's this European ornate style in a chateau, attached Chateau de Sirop inn, but the whole building has got this castle-like European feel that it's just, you walk in and it's just the true definition of elegance. You know, if you want a good burger, you can't beat Miller's Landing or the Forks Resort on Bass Lake. That's some of the best burgers you'll ever enjoy. There's a new restaurant that just opened up in Oakhurst, Southgate Brewing Company, and they're making huge waves with their microbrews and their pub food. But it's not just standard pub fare. I mean, their burgers, grass-fed beef, these killer hot wings, which before their opening I was begging them, give me hot wings, give me hot. So they're on there. But the beers themselves are great as well. They've got this dynamic menu. Just there's so much dining throughout the region that you could come away about 20 pounds heavier after your vacation.
I'm going to ask you a little bit later on in the program about Madera and some of the things out there. Continuing with Yosemite, last time I was up there, I saw a baby cub bear actually along the side of the road, and I was surprised. I didn't realize that the bear can come so close because it was within several feet from me. Is that common to see animals that close? And if so, what animals are up there?
You know, it is common for a lot of people. Unfortunately, I've never seen a bear. I've been here 4 years now, and I've still yet to see a bear. It's something I complain about often. Just I'm unlucky that way. But, you know, there's a lot of guests, they go up there and they see a bear. You know, some people ask, should they be worried about the bears? And you should be more worried about a squirrel than you should about a bear, in all reality, unless you leave food in your car. Then you're going to have a very unfortunate story to tell your insurance person, and you're going to be paying a fine as well, because they will ticket you. So it's important when you go to Yosemite, always make sure your food is stored properly. That's something that they hammer on for good reason, because not only will it mess up your car, but it starts training those bears to not be afraid of humans and to look at us as a provider of food as opposed to foraging in nature, and we don't want that. But you can see bears out there. Yosemite is home to brown bears that are just, you know, they're wild animals, but they're beautiful, so just give them their space. You know, squirrels everywhere, deer, coyote, marmot, which is a very cool animal. They've got, if you're into bird watching, there's some beautiful and just a whole wide array of birds that you'll see up there. It really is, I mean, Yosemite is a natural area in every definition of the word, so you're going to see a lot of wildlife up there, and especially if you go off the beaten path outside the valley into some of the trails up there, and if you're just still and you look, you'll see wildlife like you've never experienced before.
As far as the animals up there, like this particular bear, is it okay for me to take pictures of the bear, and how far should I be? Because when I was up there, I was a safe distance from it, but there were people who were trying to get in closer, and it wasn't the best idea in my opinion, but I'm no expert. Can you?
You know, in terms of like actual feet, you know, I couldn't give you a number there, but, you know, stay, you know, a good distance away, something that it would, you know, I'd say further than 30 if I had to pull a number out. But I would talk to a ranger, and you'll find rangers everywhere to find that out. But as far away as you can, you know, hopefully you've got a good zoom on your camera if you're looking for pictures. Stay out of their way. You know, if you know they're going this way, don't go in front of their path. Stay off to the side. And, you know, again, don't block traffic to take those pictures either, because some people will do that. They'll just stop their car and...
That's
you know,
what happened.
and I get that. You know, I understand wanting to take that picture, but, you know, it is a road. You know, don't block traffic, do everything safe, and again, stay out of their way, and, you know, just kind of let them be and do their thing.
Overnight stays, is there places in Yosemite inside the park that I can stay overnight? And if so, where are they? Are they within walking distance within scenery?
Well, I mean, everything's in walking distance of scenery in Yosemite. I mean, you're in Yosemite, it's scenery. You know, you can't get away from it. But in terms of lodging, there is plenty of lodging in the park. You've got the Ahwahnee Hotel for somebody looking for that opulent sort of stay. Yosemite Lodge is more of that family-friendly type of place. Then you've got, you know, a lot of camping. Curry Village is known for the tent cabins and camping there. Campsites in Wawona along the Merced River, which is just gorgeous. And then the Wawona Hotel itself. There's the Redwoods in Yosemite, which are vacation homes in Wawona. So there's a lot of lodging options inside the park. But with, you know, 4.1 million people going to the park every year, obviously there's not that many rooms. So a lot of that lodging spills out into the gateway communities such as Madera County, which is where we come in and where our funding comes in. So, you know, there's options all throughout that whole area. And again, hitting that whole budget option from, you know, family economy looking to save a couple bucks to somebody looking to have that vacation of a lifetime.
You know, you're touching on an area I was going to ask you about, and is Yosemite good for our economy locally?
Yosemite is not just good for our economy locally, it's vital. Yosemite brings so many dollars to this region that it is a vital part of the Central Valley economy. You know, there's a reason why it's called the Fresno Yosemite International Airport. So many people are flying into Fresno, not just for Fresno, but to go see Yosemite. I can't pull the figure off the top of my head, but there are some studies that have been done, and the economic impact of the park is just astronomical, in the tens of millions of dollars, if not more, for this area. And that's all money that is, you know, people look at economic development, but tourism is one of the purest forms of economic development, because every dollar spent here is a new dollar that wouldn't have been in this economy otherwise. So that new dollar coming here helps so many other businesses and families just to make a living.
We hear a lot of time that people go hiking in Yosemite. Is there hiking trails, and how long would I have to stay if I wanted to hike from the bottom to the top?
You know, that's one of those amazing things, because Yosemite has just almost countless number of hiking trails from every skill level. To, you know, we can do like the Mariposa Grove. You can see most of the attractions inside the Mariposa Grove in a real simple hike. My daughter was 5 when we first moved here. We did that hike, and you know, we came from the desert of 500 feet above sea level to Mariposa Grove to between 5,000 to 7,000 feet, and we did that no problem. So I mean that, there's simple hikes there, or to Lower Yosemite Falls, which is just a quick walk, to more strenuous hikes like, Half Dome. You have to get that permit through the park to go up there. That's a full day trip. Even the most able-bodied hiker, that's going to be a full day trip because you're looking at a lot of distance there and a lot of climb and then back down. But, Yosemite has a whole gamut of hikes from novice to expert, and all are going to take you to some really beautiful areas.
Let's shift gears and talk about Madera, because you promote other areas, not just Yosemite. So talking about Madera, which is just up the 99 or the 41, is there stuff to do in Madera?
There's stuff to do all throughout this region, and I love talking to people. We go to shows, throughout the Central Valley and beyond, and it's great to talk to people and let them know what's in their own backyard that they may have missed. The Fossils to Falls Trail that I touched on briefly is more than, just something for visitors coming from out of state or, outside the area. It's, something you can do, kind of that staycation, something for the summer. You just want to get out of town for, a day trip. It starts up in Chowchilla with, the Fossil Discovery Center up there. That is an amazing museum with the fossilized remains of prehistoric mammals. About 700,000 years ago, you've got Columbian mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, Harlan ground sloth, these massive animals. The short-faced bear, which was the largest bear to ever walk the earth. It stood over 12 feet tall on its hind legs, could run about 40 miles an hour.
That's a big bear.
Yeah, I would not want to have that thing charging me. Although I'm guessing at that size, at 40 miles an hour, probably couldn't corner very well, so you just sidestep and just watch them tumble. But I still wouldn't want to test it.
No.
But, they have these on display right there, and it's just this massive bear just standing over you, and as you stand beneath it, you kind of feel, wow, I'm small. But the really coolest thing about that is all those animals, the remains of all those animals, were found right there on site at the Fairmead landfill. Back in '93, I think it was, they were digging a new spot at the landfill. Somebody moved some dirt, and they found what they thought was a tree root. And they, call over the foreman and say, "Dude, what's that?" And they look, and turn out it's a bone. So they call in the paleontologists, and they said, "Oh, what you have here is a mammoth tusk," and they have this whole mammoth tusk. Probably won't find much else. We'll just be here a week, 2 weeks tops. 20 some odd years later, 40,000 fossils later.
That's incredible.
It's the largest Pleistocene era fossil bed in the western half of the United States. It's much larger, with animals much older than even the La Brea tar pits. And again, that's something that's right here in our backyard that a lot of people don't realize. And it's an amazing experience. The things that you get to learn, they have all kinds of great stuff, and they're constantly adding to it. So it's a really great start for that Fossils to Falls Trail.
The people in the valley, or the people in Fresno, who haven't gone up and seen the fossils or Yosemite, are they missing out?
Missing out is putting it mildly. There's so much to see and do right here. It's one of those things, again, you said earlier, there's nothing to do. You're just not trying hard enough. There is so much to do. You shouldn't be bored. There's just no reason to be bored out here because we have so much fun stuff. We're really lucky to have so much right here at home.
How about, there's something you do in Chowchilla. It's called a stampede?
Yeah.
I saw it in the news the other day, and I hadn't heard about it till that day. What is it?
Every year, Chowchilla is a western town, and they've got some great history there. And every year in April, they have the Chowchilla Western Stampede. It's a great rodeo that takes place out there at the fairgrounds. But to kick it off, they do the cattle drive down Robertson Boulevard, Chowchilla's main street. And it is the most amazing experience you'll ever see, as a couple hundred head of steer are making their way down the road. I mean, it kind of looks like, did somebody's truck spill? Should I get out of the way? But you got these professional cowboys driving them, so everything's safe. I've been out on the street taking video and pictures. It's an amazing kick. And I mean, it used to be something that was really common in America, but now it's one of only 2 of these cattle drives like it left in the country. So it's a real unique experience.
Well, what happens around that time? So if I was a tourist, or if I want to go see the Stampede, I go see the Stampede. I mean, is there food? Is this like a fair event, or it's just the cattle walking down the street?
Well, you've got the cattle walking down the street that day to kick things off, but then, that afternoon they start with some rodeo activity, and then for the next few days, they're just, they're riding, they're roping, they're barrel racing, all kinds of really fun stuff to see. It is, if you're a rodeo fan, or if it's something new to you, it's just an amazing sight to see. And I mean, these people, the things that they can do, it's just amazing. I mean, I would just fall off the horse just sitting there, but I mean, the way that they just, talk about multitasking. That's actually a good way to look at it. Riding the horse and throwing the rope. And I mean, I don't know how they do it, but it's a lot of fun to watch.
Within your jurisdiction, I'm sure you have several small cities. Do these small cities have anything to offer? I mean, if I say one day I want to go up to a foothill small city, would I have something to do up there?
You know, you're going to have something to do, and that's one of the really cool things is, you know, cities big or small, they've all got something. You know, Coarse Gold, just a small town, 10,000 people. They've got a great museum there, the Coarse Gold Historic Museum, that highlights some awesome history throughout the region, the gold miners and the loggers and so forth. You know, there's the Coarse Gold Historic Village that if you go at the right time, they have some great events there. There's the Peddlers Fair they do every Memorial Day and Labor Day weekends. There's the Coarse Gold Tarantula Festival that happens the last Saturday of every October. Because a lot of people don't know this, Coarse Gold is kind of the unofficial tarantula capital.
That's interesting.
It is interesting and odd for an arachnophobe such as myself. Imagine when I moved here, my first assignment was literally go photograph the Tarantula Festival. It's like, great, thanks. It's here for zoom lenses. Were you taking this in an earthquake? No, I was scared. You know, it's an amazing event. It's a lot of fun. They do tarantula races. They have themed stuff, hairiest leg contests for men and women.
Hairiest leg
contest. I was so upset I lost that too. Baking contest, costume contest, screams contest, all kinds of fun stuff tying with tarantulas and Halloween. You know, they have a lot of educational stuff for tarantulas as well. That's just a lot of fun. And it's an event that, you know, it's one of those unique, authentic, small town experiences that happen right in our own backyard.
One thing that I've heard about in Madera, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it's a pomegranate capital for some reason. Talk about the pomegranate.
Yeah, Madera is the heart of pomegranate country. A lot of people don't realize this, that just about every product you see in the store shelves that has pomegranates in it, that fruit was either grown in Madera or Madera County or came to Madera for processing. So, you know, Madera really is the heart of pomegranate country. And as such, this year we'll be having the 3rd annual Madera Pomegranate Festival. That'll be taking place November 2nd out of the Madera Municipal Airport. We'll have food vendors, you know, peddling all sorts of pomegranate-related products. We'll have cooking demos, all kinds of fun stuff. You know, it was a great time last year. You know, for a second-year event, we had 2,500 people show up for this free event. We're hoping for even more this year. There'll be a concert. The Marie Wilson Band is performing. You know, it's just a great time. And probably the most popular part, though, is the pomegranate grenade launch.
Pomegranate grenade launch.
Yes.
You have to tell us about that.
I thought that tease would work. One of the best things, when I first joined this project and we were looking at doing an agricultural festival, somebody mentioned pomegranates, and it was actually CMAC friend Terry Dolph, his wife, who mentioned pomegranates. And I didn't know anything about pomegranates except for they were fun to chuck. We had a pomegranate tree when I was a kid, and we used to huck them at things. You know, I didn't know that you could actually eat them. But not only can you eat them, they're remarkably healthy and they are delicious. The pomegranate juice alone, I love it. But they still make that satisfying when they hit the target. So we've got is the guys from Twin Pomegranates Winery have constructed the pomegranate grenade launch. It's this huge rubber band type of thing that launches the pomegranate at a target about a good 40 yards away. And it's not as easy to hit as you'd think, but when you do, gotta love that sound. It's great.
And it makes the splash, I bet you.
It does. It just makes a mess. You can actually see a little bit. We did a parody video last year with last year's Madera Mayor Brett Frazier called Pomegranate Rock. It was a parody of Party Rock. And it's still up there on YouTube if you search Pomegranate Rock, but it kind of just shows you we're just having a good time, and it kind of gives you the attitude of the festival right there.
I'm going to put you on the spot here again. When I go to Gilroy, the thing I have to try is the ice cream, the garlic ice cream. Mm-hmm. When I come to the Pomegranate Festival, in your opinion, what do I have to try?
You know, one of the really cool things is we bring these outside food vendors in, and we kind of turn them loose on their creativity. It's like, hey, you want to sell food here? That's great. Tie in pomegranate. So the creativity of the chefs here, I mentioned how great our restaurants are. Some of the things they put together are just absolutely mind-blowing. You know, one year they had some hot wings with a pomegranate in the sauce, and I mean, I never would have thought of that, but it was awesome. Last year there was another restaurant doing some soups with pomegranate mixed in, and again, just amazing. Every year the Vineyard does a pomegranate dinner, and you know, that ties in every way, and it's just the versatility of the fruit and the ability to just tie things together is just delicious. So I think you kind of have to try everything, which, you know, help support our local businesses and come away with a full belly and a satisfied smile.
You know, off camera we were talking, and you're originally not from this area. Talk about where you're from and the difference between where you are now and where you're from. I imagine it gets pretty hot in where the area you're from.
I'm originally from Arizona, a town called Lake Havasu City, and if you're talking, want me to quantify the difference, it's probably about 20 to 30 degrees right now. You know, it gets a little toasty, and you know that was one of the reasons why I wanted to relocate to this area, is to get out of the desert and hit the mountains. You know, I live up in the mountains, but one of the other things that attracted me to this area is the diversity of all of Madera County. You can go to an orchard, go to a farm, and then half an hour later you're up in the mountains. It's just the diversity of that is just awesome.
We are running out of time this week on the program, but how can they get a hold of you? I mean, what number do they call and ask you some questions about the cool things you've talked about?
We make it real easy to get a hold of us. You can either call us at 559-683-4636. Find our website. We've got all this information on there at yosemiteThisyear.com. It's all one word spelled out. We've got pictures of everything, links to all the information. We've got our blog where we talk about some of these things. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Yosemite Sierra. We're on Twitter. We're everywhere. Just search us out, hit our website, and give us a call. Ask us information. We love nothing more than talking to people and telling them everything we have to offer.
When's a good time to go visit these places?
Every day, any day.
You have been watching San Joaquin Spotlight and listening to the program for our radio audience. Today we heard from Jarrod Lyman. He is with the Yosemite Sierra Visitors Bureau. We heard about all the cool things happening within your jurisdiction.
Just scratch the surface. We could do this for another week.
Thank you to the volunteer crew that made this production possible. Thank you to 90.7 KFSR Fresno and to CMAC in Fresno. Tune in next week for a new edition.